Because we had 21 men in a guns crew, and there's probably not all of them would be on the gun. So because if you were standing by to fire, instead of like 4 men could operate, get things going. But if you stayed on the fire mission all the time, or standby for fire mission, you'd get no sleep. I was what was known as a chow hound. I never got enough to eat, and I had a lot of time on my hands because when a lot of times my truck is parked, I had some time on my hands. So I cut a piece out of a German propeller from a German plane that had come down. I cut a piece out of that, took my jackknife, made a hole through it, fitted it to my finger, and carved an eagle on it. Polished it on my pup tent. And the cook was always after me. He wanted that ring. And I was always hungry. And I says, if you really want that ring, you give me a can of beans and the ring is yours. Can of beans, a gallon can of beans. So he gave me a gallon can of beans. And I put it in the back of my truck. I'm driving in the back. You have, this is most people know them as a deuce and a half. It's a 10-wheeler truck. And it has a canvas over the top, and it'll carry 20 men, 10 on each seat. And I have 2 5-gallon cans of gas against the headboard of that. They took a helmet. My can of beans is in the back of the truck. They took a helmet and put some gas in it and lit the gas and put the can of beans, I don't know how they did this, but they held it above the fire and it exploded. You can't eat like that. And it exploded and there was beans all over the back of the truck. Kind of funny, but that was my can of beans for my ring.
And now you have no beans and you have no ring.
No ring.
That wasn't a good deal.
No food, no ring.
How about the guys in the back of the truck?
Covered with beans.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, how about sleeping? I know we talked before about how you needed to be close to the guns when you were sleeping or trying to rest. What was that like?
Because we had 21 men in a guns crew, and there's probably not all of them would be on the gun. So because if you were standing by to fire, instead of like 4 men could operate, get things going. But if you stayed on the fire mission all the time, or standby for fire mission, you'd get no sleep. So what we did was we broke the crew in half so that half the men could sleep while the others are firing. We could do that. So now you try and sleep when a 240 Howitzer is going off. And just to give you an idea what it's like when one of these guns goes off, if there's any buildings nearby, 100 yards away, it'll take the shingles right off the roof and it'll blow every window out. Every window will be gone. So you think of trying to sleep in a pup tent 30, 40, well, probably 75 feet from the gun and have that thing go off. Kind of hard to sleep, you know.
Not going to happen.
You learn to live with that stuff.
You did. You learned to live with it.
Yes. I know that in the winter time, the winters were pretty much like they are here. And I can remember shoveling snow to make the snow deeper in my pup tent so it'd sink down in the snow. If you're in the snow, they issue you 1 blanket and a sleeping bag and a half a pup tent. So you're supposed to buddy up with somebody. But over the period of time, I picked up another half for a pup tent, so I could have my own pup tent. Put the snow in there, put one blanket down and lay down on the blanket. That it keeps you warmer by having the snow, getting down in the snow. If you think that's warm. You go to bed with your shoes on because you won't get them off. You won't get them on if you leave them off. They're frozen. Because all through combat, mostly it was mud. Everywhere you went was mud. From the shelling and everything, it made it rain all the time.
What was, so you had to keep your boots on for quite a while?
Yeah.
A week, a month?
You know, only one time, and this was almost the end of the war, that we were able to go back to the rear echelon and take showers. So that was the last thing on your mind, was to wash up, to take a shower. You didn't have time.
Well, you were on kind of the front lines all the time. It sounds as though you were always pushing forward.
Always pushing forward or firing, you know.
Yeah, that's a non-stop activity.
Right.
How about, I know that it was one time we talked about some sheep, some wool.
Oh, well, when you fired this piece, the I don't know what you call it, the vacuum from the firing, about, I'm going to say maybe 25 or 30 feet in front of the tube on the ground, you'd see a pile of whatever was around, grass. It would take, the grass would be all like dead grass, or like if it was all green grass, some of it would pull loose and it would be like it had dried in the sun. So it would be probably a 3 or 4 foot circle of material that got drawn in from the vacuum, leaves, grass. Well, one time there was a few sheep out in front of the gun, maybe 50, 75 yards ahead of the gun when we fired. And of course the sheep ran, and in that pile there was a lot of wool. It only took the loose wool that would come and piled it up with the grass and stuff. Another time we were in a position where the ground was not very stable, and with the trails of the gun open up, you have spades that go in the ground to keep the gun from recoiling. And being unstable ground, we put a prime mover, it's like a tank, off at different angles, and put their winch cables to the gun, so that would give us something to help the gun from recoil in the ground. And out in front of the gun, we saw all this white cotton. Where's the white cotton coming from? Couldn't figure it out until one of the men went over to one of the prime movers, and the turret has a leather-covered cotton ring around it. And it opened up the leather when it was taking the cotton out.
Wow. So there's some power there.
Well, yeah. Another time, maybe I should say this.
Go ahead.
We were on the crossing of the Rhine River. It was a resort area, little houses summer houses along the river. And there was a bridge across the river. It was called Beer Bridge. It was a pontoon bridge. It was all sand. The land on the sides of the river was all sand. And we're going to put a gun position there. It was so easy to dig in sand and fill the sandbags, because every position was supposed to have 1,000 sandbags filled and place them around the gun to protect the gun. it was so easy digging that we had some time on our hands. So we went across the bridge. On the other side of the bridge was, if you can picture, bar rooms and stuff like that. On the other side of the river, we went over there and went down cellar, and we got a wooden barrel of wine, and we rolled it all the way across the Rhine River. Things got kind of quiet. We had a little time in between firing. Everybody's having a drink of wine. Got feeling pretty good. And somebody hollers, "Fire mission." So we run to the gun, put a projectile in, put the powder in, and they say, "Stand by." Whatever the target was, we never knew. Cease firing, end of mission. Now we're loaded. So we can take the powder out, but you can't take the projectile out. Took the powder out, put it back in the container in the ground, and we went off doing our thing, having a little wine, having a little fun. Fire mission. So we ran to the gun. Somebody said, "Let's give them hell." So they brought up another projectile. I fused it. I put the fuse in the projectile. And somebody said, "Let's give them hell." And they're supposed to say, 1, 2, 3, ram. Well, there was no 1, 2, 3 ram. It was start right off and give them hell, and slammed it in. You talk about some guys sobering up quick. That sobered you up when you got a projectile coming against the one that's already in there. Fused too.
They forgot the other one was in there?
Forgot it was in there. Well, that's the trouble with drinking. See, you forget stuff. But we were lucky. You know, this projectile just slid back down. I took the fuse out and I threw it out in the field. And all the time I was unscrewing it, I was afraid that it would still go off. And then, when we did get fire mission, we have 25 rounds at that position that we can fire at one time, 25. You have to bring more ammunition in. We fired 24 rounds, and they wanted the 25th round, and we don't have any extra fuses. They need a fuse. Got to get that fuse, and we had to find it, put it back in the gun. That's kind of scary, you know, when you take a fuse that's been smashed right up to the end. But
it worked?
It worked. Well, we got rid of it. I don't know if it ever went off or not. But the way a fuse is made is it goes off on impact after it has spun. When it spins going out of the gun, there's a pin in there. And the pin throws out, and it lets the powder charge burn through. So it has to spin in order to go off. We were lucky, because if that safety pin hadn't been in there, we wouldn't be here telling about it today.
Really? Would have just blew the whole thing up?
What's that?
It would have just blew the gun up?
Oh, everything. With one in the gun and another one, and the size of that projectile, if you can figure, it'll open a pillbox. Concrete is 6 foot thick. Figure 2 of them together, nobody would have been around.
So you guys were pretty lucky that day.
We were lucky that day.
How long were you actually in the service for? I mean, well, or overseas? Do you remember?
2.5 years.
2.5?
I was there for the duration of the war, and then it broke up on a point system, because they started with the older people first, and they put you into different outfits according to their point system. I was young. I was probably at that time 20, 21, something like that. So I was a younger person. I went into another outfit that would go back later. So I was later at coming home, because I was younger.
Do you remember when you were told that Hitler committed suicide?
What's that?
That Hitler committed suicide. Do you remember when that was?
Sure, but nobody ever knew for sure. everybody talked about it, but never knew whether he escaped because they never found any proof. Not when I was over there.
Still haven't.
Still haven't. No.
Nothing's changed since you were there.
Yeah.
There's no new stories.
We always thought that he escaped when we were over there. We thought he got away somewhere because he knew what was going on. We never knew.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm kind of with you. I kind of seem to think that he definitely knew what was going on. I don't expect that he would have just killed himself. He probably lived.
I don't think he took his own life. I think he was. Everybody, in his outfit respected him. He had commanders under him. They took care of him. He never had to worry about whether he's going to get caught. Yeah. Even today, they're chasing places they thought he might have gone to, but they'll never know.